So Jordan.
So we got like 9 more days from this airing, I believe, of Kickstarter left.
Yep. 9 days.
So as today, which is 10 days.
No one's asked me for the list of the shit we want to help get it for us.
Yeah.
So we need people to help us give us money, so because no one else is going that route.
Yeah.
But seriously, we can do it. We can do it.
We can still do it. As of right now, it's pretty satanic. We need $1,666, and so within the 10 days, which is today, what we're recording, that's $166.6. That's still 666. I think that's a sign that we might be successful.
One of the things that I think is awesome about this is that what the biggest criticism we've had with this podcast is the quality of it. Mm-hmm. We've gotten a lot of awesome feedback, and thank you guys. Fucking seriously, keep coming.
Yeah.
We're fucking up somewhere. Let me know. I love that shit. I'll make fun of you, but I love that shit. Mm-hmm. But for real, it seems like people are loving the content so far. They're loving the direction we're going in. It's just that, quite honestly, the quality's not there.
And that's what the Kickstarter is about. It's to get better quality microphones.
A little bit better recording equipment, a little nicer setup, so we can get that professional grade level out there and, it help show, what veganism and anarchism and just living the life trying to help each other is really about. It's not all serious. Sometimes it is, which is good. Sometimes it's not. So help us out. Check out our Kickstarter. Go to our Tumblr, wishsidepodcast.tumblr.com. Has all the links there.
Today we talk with Vic from Vegan Outreach. He's also worked with Humane League and Mercy for Animals. And he also has unfucktheworld.net.
That's .net, not .com.
.net. And you can reach them on Twitter at unfucktheworld. World with a U for the Twitter, but world with an O for the .net. Just so you know.
Fucking technology.
And you can also catch Vic, facebook.com/VICSJODIN.
That's VICSJODIN. If you're anything like me, I never pay attention the first time people say anything.
Yeah.
I get pissed if people leave me a voicemail and they don't say the number twice. Fuck you for making me listen to this twice.
Yeah, I hate that too.
Yeah. So we talked to Vic. Fucking awesome guy. Never met him before.
Totally.
He was fucking sweet. Love the things he had to say. I love him so much that, dealing with Skype like we do, audio isn't always perfect. And this is definitely one of those times that, there's some choppiness, there's some lagging.
And we're working on alternatives right now. But as of right now, Skype's our best option.
Right now, it's the best option. And, he had such awesome things to say that I didn't want, you guys to miss out on. I'm going to leave it in there. We're not going to edit it out. Mm-hmm. So deal with it.
It'll be okay.
It's free, so deal with it. If you were paying for this, I get you getting pissed. But you're not paying for it. Unless you go to Kickstarter. If you donate on our Kickstarter, then you can yell at me. That's awesome.
That's 15 people.
Yeah, you guys. I fucking love you guys.
Dude.
You guys are in my heart. I just did a heart pound, a little heart pump thing.
Much love.
Yeah, okay.
Hi.
Here's Vic, guys.
Sweet. So, we usually just like to kick stuff off right from the get-go. That's cool with you?
For sure.
Hey, and I'm Jeremy, by the way.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you, too. So, you work with Vegan Outreach, is that right?
Correct.
How the fuck do you get a job being a paid activist?
That's tough, man. First of all, if you're going to work in activism, it's certainly not for the money. It's for the, because your heart's into it, because you want to stop depression and suffering. So I got sucked in. I started volunteering a lot. And, I volunteered for Vegan Outreach for many weeks. And then they asked me if I wanted to do it for, and they give me a few dollars to keep going at it. And, of course, I jumped at it.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome.
So you recently did a tour with MFA, right?
Yes, also did a 42 city 3-month tour with Mercy for Animals, going around the country with a huge video truck. We did media events and outreach to the public, showing a 12-minute video, farm to fridge, which can be seen at meatvideo.com, which is really awesome too, which is super sweet too, because we're on the winning side. People love animals. They don't want to get cancer. They want to see horrific cruelty. They want to see people go hungry. They want to see the environment destroyed. It's just that a lot of people haven't made the connection, so we got to go out there. So both of these tours is pretty sweet to just see so many people come around when they make the connection.
That's awesome. I've been really impressed with the videos that Mercy for Animals have been putting out lately. They seem to be just a step above where a lot of the videos have been in the past, I think.
Oh yeah, it's really amazing what they're doing. And when you think about it, so much starts from these uncovered videos. So those are really some of the true heroes in the movement that are also anonymous, are the people that put themselves, in these horrific situations and work, brute physical labor all day, and then also have to go through the, video at night, and also have to worry about getting caught and whatnot. So I really think that the investigators are, true heroes.
And now with all the new ag-gag bills that are coming out, it's just one more thing the investigators have to worry about is what they're doing now can be construed as not just illegal, not that it's illegal now or should be, but also considered terrorism.
Yeah, it's definitely twisted, but I think it's a good thing because it shows that we're winning, that we're getting this resistance. And also, should it come to trial, I think it would do a lot of good for the movement, that it would put it in a public forum for people to be aware of, these hideous things that ag is trying to do to hide what they do from the public.
So, yeah, definitely. So how long have you been an activist?
I don't know. I mean, I guess my whole life, really. I mean, I just think there's important things worth talking about that you're not going to see on television. So I think that every single person that talks to another human being about things that matters is an activist, or a person even that reads and changes some part of their behavior to live a more ethical and compassionate life, to me is an activist.
Some of the most rewarding activism I've personally ever done is all geared towards just like what you're talking about, just talking, pushing it out, especially handing out the Why Vegans. I love that. I love what they do. I've been a huge supporter for many years. I know Jordan feels the same way about that.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, it's really huge. I mean, the numbers are really astronomical because I used to rescue dogs, and I love all animals that suffer. But some of the thinking is that 99% of animals that are killed are for food, and the numbers are astronomical with leafleting. Research by the Humane League in Delaware and Maryland showed that for every 60 leaflets you hand out, one person goes vegetarian, vegan, or drastically reduces their meat consumption. You hand out 100 leaflets, somebody goes veg, they affect their friend. Them not eating meat the next 50 years or 40 years, that saves a tremendous amount of animals from going through the horrors of factory farming.
Yeah, it's tremendous.
I have to say that out of all the activism that I've ever done, like some of the most important stuff that I think that I've done most effective is leafleting. Like even when you came through here a while back with Warped Tour, I believe,
Yep.
Beacon Outreach and Warped Tour, we even went out, and I felt that was pretty effective. Definitely.
Yeah, what's really great too is that we get at Vegan Outreach, they get feedback all the time, like hundreds of people ordering a cruelty-free eating request. And one of the beautiful things about Vegan Outreach, I feel, is that it's not a huge organization. A lot of people just giving a few dollars when they can. If they can't leaflet, then everybody can sacrifice in some capacity. And also that it's mostly volunteer based. There's a few people that work, which is necessary to go. Who else is going to do outreach in Laredo, Texas? But it's a really beautiful. Anybody can volunteer. Anyone can leaflet. Anyone can save animals if they just have a little bit of oomph to get out there.
And what's even I love also about it is that they have the PDF of the pamphlets on veganoutreach.org. And you can just, hand them out electronically also. So you don't have to wait to shipping. And I know a lot of people have switched over. I've given out quite a few just electronically, and it's had great results.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So how long were you on the Warped Tour?
Well, I've followed parts of the Warped Tour for the last, I think, since 2008. So we switch it up because it's kind of grueling to drive all day and then leaflet. But I think we did maybe 15 dates last year. So we'll hand out roughly 11,000, 12,000 leaflets to concert goers at the end of each show.
Jesus, fuck, that's a lot. That's awesome.
Usually have like a drop location. Like I think my house, we use that as a drop location for a lot of leaflets, didn't we?
Yeah, and also,
Yeah.
if anybody's listening, anybody can get involved leafleting and saving animals because this, all around the country, people are doing this in all 50 states. You can contact Vegan Outreach, veganOutreach.org, put you in touch with someone locally that either does it or that comes through, so you don't have to do it by yourself. And it's definitely like one of the most effective ways to use your time and energy to make the world a better place. Because of course, veganism is one of the pillars of making the world a better place. We got to fight for what's right. We need more people that are aware to not just be intellectually sympathetic, but to actually get out there and affect other people. And to me, that's revolutionary. We all got to teach one another. And this grassroots outreach, I feel really good about it because anyone can do it, and it does work. We're not doing it just because it feels good. It's definitely very effective as well.
One of the things that I always struggled with activism is that you go and you protest in front of like a furrier for years, and you feel like just draining that nothing gets done. But when you're actually out there handing out leaflets and getting on that one-on-one time and seeing the change, it really uplifts your spirit and makes you just feel good about doing it instead of just being down all the time.
Yeah, no, it's super encouraging. And doing this for the last 5 years, like in 2008, people treated you sometimes like you're a Jehovah's Witness. People really didn't know what vegan meant somewhere in Arkansas. But now every day people say like, oh my God, I never knew. What can I eat? Tell me more about quinoa. I don't want to support this anymore. I love animals. My friend's vegetarian. So I think it's just like with the gay rights movement, the more people that come out and say like, I'm gay, everybody, when they can identify and know someone who's gay, then the barrier is lowered. Just like, the more people are vegan and leaflet, it's becoming, once we hit a critical mass of like 15% vegan or whatnot, the whole, we're on the right side of justice and history. So, we just got to keep plugging away.
Do you think hitting that critical mass, like how much time do you think actually it's going to take to hit that critical mass? Because I mean, I know in the last 10 years, the amount of veganism in the United States has almost doubled, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, vegans on college campuses apparently have doubled in the last 4 years, and vegetarians has gone up by 50%. So I don't know, I don't have those answers clearly, but I do know that like, we need to focus on action and the effort. Even if we couldn't get everybody to go vegan, because this is important because I think there's a hipster element in America they're aware that there's something, screwed up about the world, but their response to that is cynicism and apathy. To me, that's very cowardly. I think it takes a lot more courage to fight, whether or not we win or not. I mean, I think we're going to win, but the point to me is action. You see suffering. If you saw a kid that was hungry down the street, you would feed him. If you would give him a shelter, you give him a sweatshirt. If you saw an animal being kicked, you would stop it. Same thing if your neighbor had, 300 dogs on a concrete floor after he had pulled their teeth out with pliers and cut their tails off and ripped their testicles off. You would speak. You at a minimum call the police or do something. Likewise, we all need to fight to free these animals and to educate other people because it's the right thing to do, and fundamentally, people will are already joining. So I'm really mostly focused on action and getting more other people involved. I don't really know when when we'll come around, but the sooner the better.
It means I've been vegan for almost 20 years now, and it's just the last probably 5-6 years seems like it's just been an explosion almost. It's been fantastic. At least, in my life, that's what I've noticed.
Definitely, and I think it's also more people are familiar with the term vegan now than 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm pretty excited about a lot of things about, nothing is static in the world. And I think that, there's this like sense of defeatism sometimes in the movement. Not everywhere, but just like I think it's important to remember that we are winning, and things could change in 5 years, like we don't even know. So I feel like our job is just to keep hammering and hammering and hammering, and we don't know when the whole wall is going to come down, but it is going to come down. So at least that's how I look at it.
How do you talk to activists that do have that feeling of being, fleeting? I have that sometimes. Sometimes you just feel like, fuck, world is so fucked up and things are so bad. Is it really getting better? Like, I know veganism is increasing in the United States, but I also know so is the amount of animals that are killed every single year. So how do we combat that?
Well, I mean, that's a struggle. That's an inner struggle, whether you're an athlete or, whether you're an activist or a soldier. You got to get up there and earn it every day. And I really do believe that the smallest action is worth more than all the thoughts and, Facebook posts or online petitions, or even though that can be important at sometimes, just getting out there and making it happen and affecting other people. I mean, that's what it's about. So to me, it's almost a thing of faith. I don't really get burned out. I've been doing outreach, traveling. I haven't had a home for over 5 years now. But when I talk to people, it's just like, hey, I eat meat for most of my life. I used plastic bags most of my life. I never thought about how my life was affecting the environment, or I never thought of like the evils of capitalism. So I just got to keep plugging away and remember that, truth is on our side. Fundamentally, these animals are totally innocent. They've done nothing wrong. Factory farming is unhealthy. It's disgusting. It's hurting the environment. Like, people will come on board. So I just try to stay real positive, and it's important too because energy is contagious. If you're angry, you attract anger. If you believe that this is important when you're giving a talk, other people will believe it's important. Whether you're selling a car or talking about veganism. So I think that there is an element of belief, and it's not just naive. It's based on intelligence as well. But people have struggled throughout history to make things better, and maybe what's going on is more important than any other time in history because a lot of our problems are global in nature. Whether it's global warming, the oceans being overfished, the Amazon being cut down. I think if people knew that, most people say like, oh, I don't want the rainforest to be cut down. But if they realize that, like when you're going to McDonald's, well, it's for cattle grazing, it's to grow soybeans for chickens. I think that.
And oranges. A lot of people don't fucking realize that.
Really? That's interesting. I forgot that.
Minute Maid is one of the largest contributors to rainforest deforestation. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's really, it's really awesome you said that because, man, we all learn from each other. So I also think there's something about being humble, about being like progressive, that we can all learn from one another. So I didn't, so that's huge.
It's crazy. You're totally right on that. One of my favorite quotes that I've always loved is that optimism is a force multiplier. And pessimism works the same way also. But you're completely right. Like, if people are optimistic and they help each other, they can lift each other up. But it's just the opposite. When someone's burnt out, you can also pull each other down. And unfortunately, I've been at both aspects of that, probably the last couple of years more on the pessimistic side because, it's fucking hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, another thing I think is that a lot of people are like very intellectual in this country, and we're bred through our shitty education system to just like tear everything apart, tear everything down, undermine everyone, anything, feel better about ourselves by tearing other people down. If I couldn't save 5 animals from doing average, I would still do it because it's the right thing to do. So it's like it transcends like this is what needs to be done, and so that's what we do. And and also I think though that being said that one of the things I love about vegan outreach and many forms of activism is that it's not just what makes us feel good. I could be saving dogs. No, the reason we hit at farm animals so hard is because there's so much suffering on such a vast scale that this is really what gets the most good done. It's very utilitarian. If we get 30 people to go vegetarian every day on a college campus, me and my intern, and they get one of their friends to go vegetarian, even if it's less, the amount of animals over them not eating in the next 50 years, that's hundreds of thousands of animals. Meat consumption has gone down the last 4 years. We're winning, and just got to keep plugging away.
So you were talking about the whole hipster attitude on the college campus. That must just be hitting you guys fucking hard every day. Like, how do you go against that pure just cynicism against the world that these hipsters portray?
I can't force anyone to do anything. I can't even get my dog to sit sometimes. But I can give the information out there. So sometimes people leave for the first time, they'll be like, oh, well, what if someone calls you an a-hole, which never happens. But if they're like, oh, worst you'll hear is like, I love eating meat. I'm not really worried about that person. I'm not worried about the person that's an ag major and their family has 3,000 head of cattle and they're so nice to their cattle, they pet them to death. I'm not worried about that person. I'm worried about the people that we can reach. And every day people are open to the message. And I think that the average person underestimates how powerful we are. When you talk from the heart with your brain, people will listen. So I would just encourage anybody's listening to just, don't underestimate the power of your voice. Who knows? Someone might hear your podcast. They might get involved in activism. We don't know the ripple effects of our actions. So just got to keep working.
Yeah, most definitely. That's totally. You're actually making me feel like I guys got to fucking get out there right now.
Beast. I would love to leaflet with you or do other things as well. And also, I just want to say, publicly that Jordan, you've been a big inspiration for me. I think, your life has proven that, a lot of courage and, I admire, your strength.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I have to say that one of my favorite times doing leafleting was actually when you came through. So I'm not joking
awesome,
with that.
Awesome.
It was really awesome to go to Warped Tour and see all the people picking up leaflets and actually reading through them. It's pretty sweet. When you see somebody that takes a leaflet from you and is actually looking through it and talking with their friends about it, that's something that really impacts you. It's like, I gave that leaflet to somebody and they're actually discussing it. I don't know what happened to those people afterwards, but at least I know that they were informed. And so I was really stoked about
Awesome.
that.
So being on the road so much, you have to have some really inspirational stories and some really fucked up stories. Like everyone does. I mean, they just exist. You know, that's just a life, especially on the road so much. So what's your favorite story on the road so far?
You know, I don't know, to be honest, right? But it's just like every day I just wake up and I'm hurting sometimes. Like I'm tired. You know, maybe sometimes once in a while I don't feel like leafleting. But once I hit that campus, I start talking to people. I always feel good at the end of the day, even if I'm tired or just hearing all the positive reactions. You know, there hasn't been one day of outreach where I know that, you know, a ton of animals haven't been saved. So I just feel good at the end of the day. Vegan outreach also has been a great gift in my life personally, because even though it's a sacrifice to not, you know, make a ton of money or have health insurance, it's also a gift in other ways, you know, not to mention, you know, if you study history, people have died for what they believed in. They've gone to prison. You know, what's the big deal if you just travel and volunteer or work for free or go without health insurance? So I think we need more people to embrace revolutionary ideals of like, what does it mean to be wealthy? What does it mean to have purpose?
No,
Can't
totally.
just judge, you know. But that being said, there's just been so many wonderful adventures. I mean, I've been on the road for 5 years, hung out with so many people, met so many people. Ironically, I had no friends growing up, so it's really weird now that I have friends in most places in the country. And just meeting that there's so many people that care about animals, that we're not like a fringe group by any stretch of the imagination. All walks of life, all areas. People care about animals. People also care about things, you know, that transcend that. There's people that are awake all around the country that, you know, they realize that capitalism is obsolete, that see through, you know, sexism and homophobia. And I think that this is ennui in suburbia, that people are aware that something's, you know, wrong with the world, but, you know, too many people go into that hipster ethic rather than getting involved. So I think one of the great things we can do is educate people and get more people involved in action, whatever small tangible action it is to, you know, make the world a better place.
So out of all of the cities that you've been through, and you've had to gone through a fuck ton of cities, what's your absolute favorite city?
Well, you know what's funny is that I've traveled a lot, and I feel like sometimes if you know one person, you know 100 people. So to me, it's all about the people you know. I mean, I personally don't like the cold, although I've toured through Canada and stuff. But I think a few hidden gems are like Ithaca, New York.
I think it's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
cold but amazing.
Yeah, it's really sweet. Well, I really love the Bay Area, Oakland. I love the architecture in New Orleans. I love kayaking in the mangroves with dolphins in Florida. You know, I feel like each person has their own unique beauty and truth or something to offer. That's how I feel when I travel. You know, I try to, you know, there's so, you know, like I'm going to Utah. You know, the mountains are beautiful. I got to hang out with Jordan and, you know, just seeing the awesome people out there. I don't know, man. I really just love being on the road. You know, I'm actually going to get a full-time job, hopefully in LA. So I'm going to miss the road. But, you know, I just, you know, and traveling too is a gift in the sense that, you know, Lao Tzu says the true traveler has no fixed destination. And that touches on philosophically how so many of these hipsters and just these like, you know, I'm in debt, I got to work, no time for anything else, no giving. They see life as a problem. And to me, that's the whole problem itself, because if life is anything, it's a mystery and an adventure. And if we're not, you know, we're free to make choices that affect how we live our lives. And so something I've learned from being on the road is make life an adventure, you know, make the best of any situation, have fun wherever you are, you know, make sure to laugh and educate and, you know, every single day.
So what's been your favorite adventure so far?
Well, on this tour, it's been really cool. I've never really been to Laredo before. It's like being like ankle deep in Mexico. I don't know. I just love taking it in. I mean, sometimes we travel so fast we don't really have time to take in the city. It's just, you know, it's not really like a leisure activity.
Yeah.
But I think the people really, you know, meeting, you know, there's this guy named Ari in Dallas that runs the Pollination Project, and he's really one of the he's like an Oscar Schindler of the animal rights movement. I mean, the man just gives so much of himself to the movement. There's another gentleman in Houston, Eugene, you know, works really hard as an engineer, you know, doesn't have a ton of friends. All he does, he's saved more animals than probably anyone, and no one's even heard of him. He does a ton of online advertisements. He's handed out hundreds of thousands of leaflets, and it's like meeting these beautiful, beautiful people that just work for others. I find it very inspiring. And, I think that one thing that kind of irks me, the vegan movement, the animal rights movement is so beautiful because so many people contribute what they can to get the movement going. But I'm a little bit of a hard ass in this aspect because we have so much. We're so privileged, not just to be human, but to be Americans. I really wish that people had more of a sense of connection, that we have a responsibility to give back. So if you're spending $10 on some shit you don't need, why not give that to Vegan Outreach or to some other nonprofit? And time, we squander time. It's a crime. The world's in peril. Kids are hungry. The oceans are falling apart. They're plowing over the rainforest, and people are watching like a fucking basketball game. Can we toughen up a little bit and realize that we have to be more excuse the expression, but we have to be more militant about making the world a better place. Sometimes it's not about what you feel like doing when you're privileged. It's about what needs to be done. So I wish that more people had more of a I'm a soldier of love or of nonviolence. It has nothing to do with being aggressive. It just has about being, doing what needs to be done and embracing that with privilege comes responsibility. And if we are of love, intelligence, and connection, then we have to be a voice for the voiceless.
My daughter has actually brought that up to me several times recently about why, don't we spend more time actually out there, promoting veganism and promoting animal rights and showing people the way that it should be. And she's really kind of maybe look at that in a whole different light, like you're saying, who fucking needs to watch TV? Or, there's so many beautiful things you'd be doing to help the world and the animals, and actually spend quality time with everyone that we share this planet with, instead of just isolating ourselves from each other. It's pretty interesting that a little 6-year-old has really raised that to me recently. Well, and now you're saying it.
I'm sure she has really awesome parents if she's saying that.
Well, we try, but
yeah.
Depends on the day. Some days she'll say we're assholes. Some days we'll say.
Yeah, but I think that's what's so great. I'm not a fundamentalist. It's not like people can't have fun and laugh and have entertainment. It's just that we're out of balance. People that are progressive, it's not enough to know that something's wrong with the world or that animals are suffering. Is it really, it's not like you have to do it, full-time job, but more people that are aware of these issues have to have, some people are uncomfortable leafleting. I used to feel uncomfortable leafleting because I'm a very shy guy, but there's nothing that someone could feel uncomfortable about that's any worse than, an animal being in a battery cage or having, their body parts mutilated. So I think we need more of a sense of perspective and a sense of urgency to get out there. If you get out there once a week, once a month, get us a few friends, have some leaflets out, veg fund, pay-per-view, connect with local activists, do a fundraiser to give money to these nonprofits. I think that we all need to embrace that we're not doing enough. We could do more.
It's totally true. I don't think, even when at the height of my activism, when I was literally breathing at 24/7 like you are now, I never felt like I was doing enough. How do you combat that? How do you combat, never feeling like you're totally achieving what you need to?
Well, I don't really feel that. Well, I know I'm a failure because most people I hand a leaflet to don't go vegetarian in that sense. But at the same time, the fact that we get, 30 people to go vegetarian every day, if I told you make 30 people go veg by 3 p.m., what would you do? I don't know what I would do, but we're able to do it every day. So, there are very effective tactics that we can employ. And, it's just very positive. I don't dwell, as long as you're involved in some activity, some action, I'm so tired of armchair people. I've wasted most of my life. I know what I talk about watching television and not being engaged. We need people that are active. Our society breeds us to be watchers, to be cheerleaders, to be in the stands. We need more people with the guts to sweat and bleed and, possibly fall and, be in the arena of life and in the arena of activism and to not cower and be afraid to say what we believe in. And it's not really what you say, it's how you say it. There's a lot of important things that we need to talk about, and people are not going to get it, on television where most people get their information or the mainstream press. That's why I love your podcast. You're putting important ideas and minds out there for the people. So I really wish you guys, a ton of success, and we just got to keep doing action. Any despair. I think Dorothy Day said action is the antidote to despair, and I would concur.
one of my favorite jobs was I actually worked for Dorothy Day for a little while.
I'll get out of here.
Yeah, it was one of the favorite things I did. I was, I called people who had donated in the past and wanted to see if they wanted to renew their subscription, things like that. Yeah, with the Dorothy Day Animal League. It was probably my favorite fucking job in the world. All I do is all day long is call people, and the majority of them were more elderly at the time, and just talk to them about animal rights and the horrible shit that was going on, and just how they wanted to do as much as possible. It was very rewarding and very awesome job to have. So
I'm sure you did pretty well with it too.
I did really well with that. Yeah, actually.
You seem very charismatic. I'd give you a few dollars. I'm tired of this whole animal thing, though. To be honest with you, I'm thinking of like leaving the AR movement and doing some other nonprofit. I recently found Jesus, and while some say that Christianity hates women and that he's a zombie for coming back to life, I was thinking about joining the Jews for Jesus and promoting the love of Christ on college campuses.
So how did you come to that? How did you come to find it?
By the way.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Coding.
Wow. I was just like, oh, fuck. How do you push that?
Where do we go from here?
No, I mean, I just wanted to show that, just because we're in the death and dismemberment business doesn't mean that you can't fuck around and have fun. When I'm on these tours, I try to have as much fun as possible. And just because we're vegan and aware of suffering in the world doesn't mean that we don't, love life and are happy and stuff. So sorry to mess with you all, but I heard one of the other podcasts that was very anti-Christianity. So I thought
I actually have this situation right now is that one of our closest friends, they're very hardcore Christian and vegan. And part of their Christianity is being vegan. And it's really weird for us to have that relationship because I'm so fuck Christianity and they're so God is my savior. It's really it's a hard thing to have in the AR movement. But the hard thing is that animal rights isn't about religion. It isn't about that. No. It's a hardcore truth that this shit is just wrong. It doesn't matter.
Definitely. I'd like to see everybody go vegan for ethical reasons that we don't want to hurt animals. But hey, if people end up going vegetarian because of their own health or whatever, as long as they're not hurting an animal, that's cool with me. I also think it's important that to be open-minded that veganism and even activism is an umbrella. It's not like whatever. It's a tent. I don't know. To embrace people of all different walks of life, and also to it helps diffuse our ideas. So I try not to just hang out with one group of people, and it's tough. I mean, I personally am an atheist, or at least agnostic. So it's hard for me sometimes to relate to people, but I try to just speak their language, and But I hear what you're saying when somebody thinks that there's a bearded flying man through the sky that is all loving, but he's gonna torture you for the rest of eternity if you don't believe in him. It's hard to have a rational conversation sometimes with people that are not.
No, exactly. How do you approach? It's crazy. So you said you're atheist, kind of agnostic. What makes you sit on that border? Because I sat on that border for a very long time. I'll just be honest.
Well, if you don't indulge me in a minute here, I'm amazed at life. We're born onto a spinning rock, going around a giant fireball. In a universe that's expanding into nothing, that has to be something. I mean, I look at my body and I can't even believe that these million things are working together. So I feel a great sense of awe about the universe, about history, about the world, about animals. I'm just amazed just at existence every day. And I think that you can't reduce life to just some chemical impulses. So there's something magical and mysterious about the world. Now, do I think that that's a white guy up in the sky? No, I don't. Do I think that after I die, if I say some things or, I'm going to have sex and cookies for all eternity? I find that hard to believe. But, and I'm not here to rag on anybody else's faith. I just think that there's something cosmic about the world. And I think that this kind of touches on the whole, there's a negative and a positive nihilism. And a lot of people have strayed into that hipster cynicism, apathy, this a really negative nihilism, where I think a positive nihilism is that we don't believe in this crap that's been oppressing people for hundreds of years. I find it hard to believe, and I don't want to, I hope I speak to you as a person, and I don't want to represent an organization, but I don't know how a black person could believe in Christianity if that's the religion that's been oppressing, people throughout slavery and times, or even Latin America, where it was one of the foundations of the oppression of the poor people there. So. I've thought about that many times too, that maybe, if we got rid of organized religion, that perhaps it would be easier to liberate people to think for themselves. But a positive nihilism would be that, if we don't believe in these systems that we're taught to believe, that we're free to make choices to affect our world and others, which would be a positive thing, not a despair thing. So I think that we have to be strong even when we don't believe.
You know, I totally agree with what you're saying. I totally find a beauty in the aspect of random chance creating everything. Like, I find a calm in that now, where I used to not. I used to not have a calm in, like, feel a calm in feeling of nothingness after, but now that makes me feel better. That gives me a sense of peace about everything. That, you know, this is nothing, which means there is nothing after, which means we have to be the best fucking people we can be now and not take things for granted and do the best we can to help sure that everyone else in the future can live in the same way.
And also it takes a lot of courage, you know, it takes a lot of courage not to believe when they say you're going to burn forever and when everybody else in your town is one way. So I really admire people that think for themselves and also have the heart to, like, you know, I'm not really worried about a reward. You know, I really don't want a pig to come up and shake my hand. You know, it's like, this is the right thing to do, so we do it. You know, so I really think that we're so used to everyone trying to give us a cookie and a sticker for what we do in the society. How about like fucking doing stuff because it's the right thing to do and because we like love people enough to care about something other than ourselves. You know, we're bred from the time we're born to just care about ourselves, our grade, our money, our house. And I think that if the vegan revolution is anything, it's a revolution of love. You know, that we care about all beings, and you know, that's really makes me feel really like honored just to be part of this movement and to be around other people that are so caring and loving and selfless.
I do have to say I like my house, though.
Well, I have to say that I agree completely. Veganism being an organization or a movement of love, with we not only care about animals, but we care about the health of future humans as well.
You know, it's such a multidimensional issue. And what I love too, even if the Which Side Are You On podcast, is that, and I try not to get too fundamentalist, but, you know, let's keep it real here. You know, are you on the side of oppression? Are you on the side of, like, you know, destroying the planet? Or are you on the side of, like, intelligently saving it for future generation? You know, are you on the side of, like, it's perfectly fine to oppress people, to have lobbies, influence our country, to see it stray further from democracy? Like, you know, there is a little bit element of, like, are you on the side of death or are you on the side of life? Are you on the side of selfishness or are you on the side of love? So I really love even the title of your podcast, like, which side are you on? Because I think a lot of people don't even take the time to think, you know, what am I really supporting? And I think it's so beautiful that, you know, Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. So we need to determine how we spend our time and actions. And I would add to that the unexamined meal is not worth eating. So the more people we educate on how their food affects, you know, environment, resources, animals, you know, is really huge.
You know, earlier you brought up quinoa in food, and I have never been a fucking fan of quinoa. Like, how the hell do you make quinoa taste good?
You got to hear me out on this, because I've eaten really unhealthy my whole life, like Burger King, McDonald's, Coca-Cola. So
I'm a junk food vegan, so just like know that going out, like.
Yeah. Well, you know, here's my thing though, because, like, you know, I'm really trying to change my life, you know, health wise, and my big thing is, like, now I eat food for my body. So, you know, if I'm eating quinoa, it's a complete protein for my body. I just had a spinach, parsley, broccoli shake today. And, you know, some people might think that's gross, but it's like, to me, it's delicious because I'm giving my body exactly what it needs. The body.
Yeah, that actually sounds really good.
Nice.
Well, I just barely recently tried to force myself into juicing. Like, Jordan knows this. 2 years ago, if someone tried to get me to drink a green juice or even like a carrot juice, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know? But I don't know, like 6 months ago, something like that, I actually bought a juicer and I forced myself to, because I'm like, you know, I'm getting older and being vegan and a junk food vegan, yeah, I might be healthier than a normal American, but fuck, what am I doing to my body? What kind of lesson am I leading to my daughter to how to live? And, you know, I've tried things. Like, I never tried kale until like 6 months ago. Like, and I fucking love kale now.
Awesome.
So, like, when you say that, like, I've been really experimenting with a lot of green smoothies, and yeah, like, I totally get people's apprehension towards them, but I love them now. And so, like, I've been really trying to force myself to break down my stereotypes of, you know, what I used to call hippie food. And
no, I think that's really beautiful, and also I think it touches on how we got to be humble. You know, that we don't have all the answers, and we're not the same that we were 5 years ago, and we're not going to be the same 5 years from now. So I think part of our, like, revolutionary development is being healthy and taking care of our bodies, taking care of our families, taking care of, like, you know, men and women, LGBT people, you know, expanding our consciousness to realize how our thoughts, words, deeds, food, affect everyone else. To have a personal transformation for a social transformation.
It's one of the reasons I've always loved the song "Be Healthy." I know a lot of people make fun of it by Dead Prez. Yeah,
Dead Prez, sick.
Yeah,
lentil fruit is lentil soup is mental fruit.
Yeah. My daughter even knows it, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But it's it's true. Like there's so much truth behind it, and I used to not give it too much credence, to really eating. I used to just be like, I'm vegan. That's fucking good enough. Fuck you all. And I used to just say just being vegan is good enough for the planet. I think it's one of the best things you can do for the planet, but that's not the end all. And I'm really trying to force myself to realize what my daily actions are doing and how I can improve that. And I fell a lot of the times. Don't get me wrong.
Mari's making me step my game up a lot too lately.
Yeah, that's good. Like, we should keep each other in check, not in an asshole way, but just it makes everything better.
So being on the road a lot, how do you eat? Number one, and maintain a healthy vegan lifestyle, or is it pretty challenging? What kind of things do you eat?
Well, it's super challenging. The short answer is I don't. Everywhere people are so loving, and all these people who stay with are so nice. It's like everybody. Sometimes I feel like everybody wants to give me like a brownie and a cookie. So It's really to be honest with you, being on the road is wonderful, but it also is a sacrifice. I've eaten a lot of, I've eaten more Taco Bell than I'd care to admit. A lot of, Subway bread. I can't really buy fresh fruit and fresh broccoli and kale and make a smoothie every day. I could, but it's like, you're in a different city every day most times. You definitely have to plan a little bit more. And, I've definitely neglected my health. That's one of the reasons why I'm more focused on it now.
What's the biggest change you've made being focused on your health? Like my biggest change, like I said, was that trying to eat the green smoothies and explore that aspect.
Yeah, well, I bought a steamer. I got a Vitamix. I don't eat fast food anymore. I try to I used to go out to eat all the time because I was tired and sluggish. And because I kind of view myself as a soldier. If I sleep for 3 hours, I don't care. That alarm clock goes off. I hit the streets and leaflet. So I really my whole focus was just like leaflet. And now I'm trying to have a more, take care of my body as well to be sustainable. But yeah, I just try to not eat out as much. I'll buy a bunch of cucumbers and, kale. And if I'm at a house for 2-3 days, I'll buy fresh fruits and vegetables. So, steamed quinoa, broccoli, sweet potatoes, brown rice and beans, get organic beans at Whole Foods with no salt. So it's just taking a little more effort. And, it's been a learning curve because I've been lazy and unhealthy. So, it's just takes a little more planning and time.
Every time I talk to somebody about this, they always say something and I'm like, damn it, I need to do that too. And you're like, I gotta get beans with no salt. I'm like, damn it, I don't even check for that. So, no,
it's really, I think that's one of the things too, that when you talk to people about these issues, I really try not to overwhelm people. If I'm doing outreach with someone about veganism that I haven't heard of it, I'll try to stick to 2 or 3 main ideas, because I think sometimes if we overwhelm people with information, it's too much. They can't handle that, there's no God, capitalism is horrible, our government is full of lies, and animals are being butchered and the animals are abused and it's GMOs, and it's too much, so I try to make it simpler for people. And I think it's really important when you talk to friends and family and on the street, I think it's really important that people have an emotional connection first with the suffering of the animals. I've seen a lot of people talk to their friends and family, and they just try to out-rationalize them into going vegetarian or vegan. Mm-hmm. But I've discovered in my travels that people don't change their behaviors because you outthink them. People know smoking's bad for you, fast food's bad for you. A ton of people still have fast food. So I think people first need to have an emotional connection. Wow, this pig is no different from my dog. I mean, if someone did this to my dog, I would take a bat to their head. And to think why should I not care about a pig and a dog? It's the same being. And once you have that emotional connection, then yes, you can talk about a lot of intellectual stuff. But I think it's really important that as compassionate people, we show others that to be compassionate is to put yourself in the place of the victim. What if I was born as a pig into a factory farm? I'd done nothing wrong, and I had to be mutilated and separated from my mother, and this and that. So I think once we can get other people to put themselves in the shoes, the quote unquote shoes of the animals. Wow, that sounds terrible. But when they put themselves in the in the place of the animals, that's really a big victory for people to never realize. And that's something I think about that I think is weird, that I don't usually share with people, but I'd like to share it with you, is that, it always trips me out that I was born a white dude in Sweden, when there's like no major wars going on, because I love history. But I mean, we just are so freaking privileged. But like, who's to say that we wouldn't be born a pig, or wouldn't be born as someone in a sweatshop? So I really think that we need to expand our compassion to all life, all people, even the environment, forests, the oceans. And once we revolutionarily transcend the stupid way of just thinking about ourselves, which is one of the greatest ironies of all, too, that the winners in this globally unequal game of economics, the people that are richest materially, tend to be the poorest. They tend to be soul sick. They tend to have, divorces and pill poppers and go shopping sprees, and they just want to fucking kill themselves. So, there's got to be a better way to set up society.
One of the interesting things you say about how lucky you are being born white and everything else, or just not, I don't say lucky, but just the circumstances around that. When we went to pick up Jordan from prison down in Texas, it was a huge eye opener for my daughter, because she's right next to Mexico and she knows what Mexico is, but all of a sudden she sees the difference. She saw the difference between the United States and even El Paso, which is a shithole to begin with, and Mexico, and she's just like, why is it so different? Just because of a river, it makes no sense to me why it's so much different there and so much different here, and why people are treated so much differently.
Wow. I mean, what a beautiful sentiment. I mean, that trips me out, because I used to live in Philly, and like a cop would be killed and they'd be like on television, and there'd be like 10,000 people in a church, but if somebody else was killed, nobody cared, just because someone in the power structure was affected. It was weird to me. Just like, people, like we were talking about earlier, like someone saw someone kicking a dog, would be upset. But if it's like, millions of animals in the middle of nowhere, no one cares. We have to transcend that, what's right next to us. Like, what would it matter if a kid was killed for no reason, like right in front of us, or like across the ocean, or in a different town? So I think that one of the revolutionary things is to not buy into this artificial, countries on some levels, it's lines on a map. Air and water doesn't stop at the border. Why wouldn't you care about someone on a different side of a river? And a child can see that. And I think that we need to learn from children to just love everyone, and to not make these stupid artificial barriers.
Yeah, it was really interesting, because in the conversation we tried to explain her to what nationalism was, and explain to her what borders are and how they function. She honestly could not grasp it. She kept just saying, why doesn't President Obama just fix it? Like, that was her whole thing. Like, she just couldn't grasp why we see it's wrong, she sees it's wrong, we're all acknowledging this is wrong. Why the fuck aren't people fixing this?
Well, if you indulge me in a little tangent, I think a lot of people also don't grasp like the power of the president. They have us electing Tweedledee or Tweedledum, Republican, Democrat. It's a figurehead. It's like the president got no power. It's like all the lobbies and all the circling door between senator, munitions maker, banker, senator, lobbyist, vice president, informal lobbyist. The system is not going to be changed by one human being. And that's all the more reason for us to educate one another and, change ourselves, so that we can get a more critical mass to change the corruption, the general corruption.
Totally. We were talking to Will Parter and Lauren Regan about this issue, and one of the things that both of them brought up is that animal rights movement in general should be more involved in the political structure and in the lobbying. And at the same time, they all acknowledge it's a fucked up system. We don't agree with the system, but we should play with it more. Like, how do you feel about that?
I say go. Hit them any way you can. Inside, outside, up, down. Like, I love Humane Society of the United States. Some people will, give them grief for not being like radical enough. But like, when you institute changes on such a massive scale, and then we're so quick to tear down. When a state gets rid of station crates or battery cages, when they get that publicity, meat consumption drops. People become aware of the issues. I personally don't have the answer of whether, what I think that most people would like to see, everybody be vegan tomorrow. But I do understand too that, some people will go vegetarian one day a week. They'll eat meat once a day, and then they'll go vegan. Slowing change. Change is slow sometimes. So I don't have the answers. I support anyone that does anything for animals, and just like all these groups working for animals. One of the things I love about our movement is that there's very little, there's some infighting, which is, I guess, inevitable. But I really love it how everybody supports everybody. We're all in it together, and that's something truly revolutionary in our society, where everyone's in it for themselves, and the animal rights movement tends to, everyone support one another, which I think is really awesome.
One thing I'd have to say, you're right. I've witnessed some infighting and I've been involved in some infighting.
Yeah.
I'm not immune to that. But what I've always noticed, that's always on a very localized, very small, individualized level. At least I haven't even seen or been a part of it in a very large level. On the larger, like, national and international level, it's a fucking amazing, great community. And you've experienced it.
I mean, that's the best part of traveling. It's just that, people that are vegan and progressive are beautiful people. And that's like, and the more beautiful people we connect to one another, divided, we're controlled. We just got to make more friends and connections and, be more open to talking to different people. And, it's going to happen. We're already winning. This movement is not static. And that's one of the things that gives me the most encouragement is just that, there's a vegan cafeteria in the middle of nowhere, Texas, at a college campus. In the University of North Texas, there was a cafeteria, a huge school. They got 4 cafeterias. One of them was failing. So one of the assistant directors that came up needed to make it vegan. It's kind of like, it's probably not going to work, whatever. Somehow he got it to go, and it's now one of the most successful cafeterias there.
Awesome.
Yeah, little victories adding up is a huge victory. I can't tell you how many cops I've met that are vegan, Marines, professors. One of the coolest things on the Farm to Fridge tour was, it was crazy because I usually deal with college students, and here we're doing these media events in the middle of the day. And I keep meeting so many people that are vegan. It blew my mind. I met 12 businessmen in Charlotte, North Carolina that were vegetarian or vegan in the hour we were out there. I remember being we were in Times Square, and thousands of people stopped to watch the 12-minute video. People crying. Once people are aware of it, they will change. But after the event, we drove up you can't drive a commercial truck on a highway in New York. So we drove up through Harlem. And this guy in a big van, a livery van, he's got eye tattoos, like a teardrop, like, you kill someone. He's got neck tattoos all over the place. He's slumped in his seat, and he honks the horn, doot, doot. And and I go, like, he's like, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, you all vegetarian? And I'm like, you know it. And he's like, I've been vegetarian for 5 years, doot, doot. And he drives away. It just blew my mind, like I was in Stillwater, hellhole for animals, in Oklahoma, and this cowboy asked me, like, are you vegetarian? And I'm like, yeah. And he leaned in, and he's like, I'm a vegetarian too. Like almost like he was ashamed of it. And it's just really cool. We Buffalo, we met a lawyer that just went vegan last week. The council member in Erie, Pennsylvania was vegan. It's just there's all sorts of people that are vegan, vegetarian, and more so every day. So we're winning.
That's awesome. Really awesome. It's totally awesome. One of the things that I've always tried to do is try to show in my own daily life and how I live my life and present myself is that, it's okay for normal people to be vegan. It's not just this fucking fringe. Because, back when I was a kid and, big into the hardcore scene, it seemed more of a fringe movement and not many people knew about it. And it almost seemed like it kind of ostracized some of the people, 15 years ago or more.
Yeah, well, you know what I hate about a lot of cliques, because I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of people. And also I've been like an athlete. I've been the cool kid. I've been the dork. I've been like a little bit of everything, which has been really fascinating. That we really need to expand. When we talk about compassion for all animals, it's really all people too. Like so many people are like, oh, I'm only going to hang out with straight edge kids or hardcore kids or only Christians or only Muslims or, only my soccer team. I think that, it's a social revolution. If not to spread ideas, but also we'll learn from everyone we meet. And I think that it's very easy for people to be like, keep people out. And I think it's really important to, just because you have a friend with someone doesn't mean that you're going to believe and agree with everything they say. But, I think the less we judge people and the more we love people, the more we let people in, the better it'll be for animals and for the diffusion of truth and worthwhile ideas.
I think I learned that lesson way too late, personally. I was that kid that only hung out with straight edge vegan kids. I only dated vegan girls. I only, that was my entire life. I only associated with those people. The only time I really associated people who weren't vegan was, when I was at a protest or when I was out leafleting or, when I was in that confrontational mode. And I think I missed out on a lot. And I think I missed out on touching a lot of people I probably could have by confining myself in all my social settings just to that really tight little social network.
The beauty is we all have a lot of time left. As long as we got life, we got opportunities. I've made 1,000,001 mistakes in my life. Particularly eating unhealthy and, not taking care of my body and stuff, but hey, I'm 32. I got lots of time, hopefully it's not too late. And, as long as there's life, there's a chance. and we're already on the winning side. So, I mean, also I think it's very humble to say that maybe you made a mistake, just like, I've made a mistake. But I love when some of these wise men say that, to say you've made a mistake is but saying that you're wiser today than you were yesterday. So I think that's really awesome of you.
So how long have you been vegan? Like you said you're 32?
I'm not really sure. It's kind of embarrassing because it was a very slow process for me because, I always thought meat was kind of gross. And I saw my mom cook a lobster. I thought it was, I was going to look at her the same after that. But yeah, I guess I went vegetarian slowly in college after getting a pamphlet and seeing a video. But I was never really like a strict vegetarian. And then I went vegan, but I wasn't really a strict vegan. So I've only been like, pretty serious vegan, probably about 5 years.
So what made you like have those changes? Like you said, they were very slow for you. Like what, like I think for most people it's either like a very like fast or very very slow. I know for me it was pretty fast. I went vegetarian for 2 years and vegan quickly right after. So what really made you make all those changes, like those steps towards it?
Well, to tell you the truth, it was a very slow process. And to be honest with you, I just had a lot of bad habits. And, even when I went vegetarian, I would eat pizza, I was a pizzatarian really, which is not healthy. And also, it's disgusting for your health and it's horrific for like cows. It's hard. Cheese is so disgusting on so many levels. But also I didn't have knowledge. I didn't have knowledge about cheese being addictive and carcinogenic and, that some of the horrors of the dairy industry. And that's why I encourage people to be patient. I've talked to so many of my friends that like when I first went vegan, they're like, they're real jerks about it. They're like, it's a personal choice. Some people have told me like, for every animal you save, I'll eat 2. But hey, I just chill out. I can just put the information out there. And, if the more repeated exposure I have with someone, you can, different appeals, bringing up different things, a video here, not badger people, not make it a power thing. Like, I think that's one of the worst things people do, like with their families, that like a lot of people won't go vegan because like they don't want to accede to like what they sickly perceive as like a low person. So I stick with ideas, but fundamentally the truth is on our side. People care about animals, don't want to be sick, all that kind of thing. So just to be patient, I think it's a lot more commendable. Like people that go vegetarian when they're 5 or 14 in the middle of nowhere, like those people blow my mind, how prescient they are and their courage. But my own personal experience, I'm ashamed of it. Because I saw videos, I got pamphlets, it took me many years to go vegetarian. And that's why maybe that's helped me be more patient with other people. And it's interesting to know, too, that most of the animals saved from factory farm horrors are not by vegans or vegetarians. They're by people that eat less meat. So I think 60% of people eat less meat, and they actually probably save more animals than the 2% of vegans or whatever it is. 5, I don't know what the exact numbers are. And hopefully those people go full vegan. And, that's what I'm hoping for. But everybody has a path to play. I can't force people to do anything. So I've just learned to be more patient, because I think that like getting angry or getting unstrategic, we have to be very tactical and also, people walking their own path. I encourage people like every time someone doesn't need an animal, that's a big victory. So I try to take encouragement in small changes and also looking at the big picture. Just because someone's not just vegetarian today doesn't mean they're not going to be vegetarian tomorrow.
One of the
to make consumption, to try new foods, and to educate themselves. Because the more people are educated, the more likely they are to go vegan. Because it doesn't make fucking sense not to be vegan. If you know everything there is to know about this issue, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you have the weakest, if you have a beat in your heart, and you have 3 brain cells in your brain, if you become aware of these issues, how can you not be vegan? So I have a lot of courage, faith that once people understand the issues, the more information they get, the more videos they see, people generally gravitate towards going vegan. And most people are intelligent. Most people are caring. So, people are going that direction.
The one thing I want to say is like, you should never be embarrassed about the track that brought you to veganism. No. Everyone's on a different path. It's not about the path, it's about the goal. And like, all that really matters is that, you are saving those animals, just like you said. So like even, a slow progression, it's still a slow progression of saving animals. It's still saving animals. Like it's still saving lives.
And I find it very admirable. Like you see on the news that an 80-year-old will go vegan. That's a lot of unlearning that had to happen. And that's even more admirable.
That's so encouraging to me when I see those type of stories. Yeah.
And on another note, like you were saying, it is a no-brainer thing. One of my favorite quotes was, "If you're not pissed off, then you're not paying attention." That's a chant that we used a lot.
I think, I could talk to you guys forever because you're really like super awesome people and very interesting and, great questions. But I think that one of the keys for me is unlearning. When I was a kid, I naively thought that like we're just pumping democracy and putting smiles on people's faces around the world. And then it was really, when you really learn about how sick and twisted, overthrowing democracy just so we could make a few more dollars in copper, 40,000 people get tortured to death, 3 million people killed in, Vietnam for nothing really, it really boggles the mind. So I think it takes a lot of courage to dig for reality and the truth. I love this quote that they say that the truth is not a matter of light, it's a matter of courage. And I just love people that are, open to not having all the answers and digging, for what's out there.
Since we're throwing out all these favorite quotes and about this situation, my favorite one about this is, a man isn't living until he has found something worth dying for.
Sweet.
And I've always, I've always tried to, live my life that way, and it's totally true. But one thing we try to do is we try to have a poll every week. And this week our poll was about, hold on, I have the wrong one pulled up here.
It was your favorite vegan documentary.
So what is your favorite vegan documentary? We only listed a couple.
Well, that's a horrible question for me because I loved The Witness when I saw it, and but I have to say that the thing that just knocked me on my ass was Earthlings. Once I saw that, outside my door in Philly, everything was the same, but it was like a dark cloud over everything for about 4 days, and I did not like leafleting. I was very shy, but that is the most powerful thing I've ever seen, and it made me realize that I can't just be floating down the river and a spectator anymore. Like what these animals go through is so god awful. It's so sick that you have to step up and go out there. And also it's the heavy hitter. It's not for everyone. But if you see Earthlings and you don't go veg or vegan, then what is wrong with you? How you cannot claim ignorance. So I love that movie, and I've shown it over 80 times, and it's always had a very powerful effect on people. So that would have to be my hands-down favorite. I also love, though, Forks Over Knives, because there is a certain demographic that do not care about animals, but they do care about their health. And I'm always more worried about animal suffering as a reason to be vegan. And nevertheless, I've seen so many people in a demographic that was not penetrated by animal suffering, particularly people over 50, that have gone vegan and vegetarian in droves just from that movie. So that would be the trifecta, and I hope you'll forgive me for giving 3.
Oh, no, totally. Those are actually the 3 that we mainly listed. But when I have to be the one to acknowledge this and totally admit this. I've never completely watched Earthlings. I've never gotten through it. It's been too disturbing for me personally because I get, I'll watch part of it and I'm just like, I fucking know this. I don't need this anymore. My daughter's watched it. I haven't, But, I totally get why it's such a powerful movie, but it's so powerful for me, I can't finish it, just be honest.
I also got to throw in a meat video, Farm to Fridge by MFA, because, so many people have seen that. It's only 12 minutes long. You can see it at meatvideo.com, and, that's super powerful. It's a great thing to show your friends, meatvideo.com. And it's really funny because me and Phil Letton, we were on this, tour around the country showing this video off the video truck. And we had seen it so many thousands of times that we would be getting a snack and eating while it's playing and people are crying and stuff. It was kind of a funny thing for us. People are having their life-changing moments and we're having some popcorn,
So desensitized, like crazy. Oh, man.
A little bit. If we don't laugh, we cry. That's another thing I think is really important as an activist and not to be burned out. And like everything, just because the world is serious does not mean it's not funny. So when I'm on the road with people, we try to laugh a lot. We make a lot of jokes, innuendo, and there is a method to the madness, because just because we laugh a lot and have a lot of fun and party, it doesn't mean that we don't care about these issues and we don't work hard. So I think balance is really important too.
So what's your favorite vegan joke? Do you have a favorite, like one, like a little quick line or one vegan joke?
Well, I heard this joke that I thought was kind of funny, that, how many vegans does it take to change a light bulb? 10. One person to change it and 9 people to say how easy it was to change.
I've never heard it that way.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
I like it that way. I like that way a lot. I've always heard it, two, one to change it and one to read the ingredients.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be sitting with people and they know that I'm pretty vegan, I guess. And I'll be like, oh man, yeah, I had a steak today. I figured the animals owe me something. I'm just throwing a joke, and to see people's jaws drop. I like to have fun, just like I mess with you guys in the Christian thing. I think you gotta have fun.
I do that all the time, my friends. I did that with my daughter last week. Like, she went to eat something. I don't even remember what it was. I'm like, Iz, what the hell? That's not vegan. She bawled. Like, she started bawling. I'm like, I was just kidding. She's like, that was not funny. Yeah, I learned my lesson on that one.
She's 6 though.
And I'm very sarcastic, but so.
Yeah, well, I really hope to get out to Utah and hang out with you guys. And
Definitely.
Jordan, you've always been a big inspiration to me, and it's super nice to meet you as well. And I really like the podcast too. I was listening to some of the other ones. I really hope that you guys continue with it and it keeps growing, because I think what you're doing is a great service to the movement.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.
We just feel like that people in the movement sometimes just don't get to hang out and just talk about it. Like, it's sometimes way too serious, and we try to it's serious shit, but don't have to be serious all the time.
Like you're saying.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing. So, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome, and if you ever here, my house is always open. Now that Jordan's out of jail, he's here most of the time anyway. So
Nice.
so
Nice.
totally.
Well, thank you guys super much, and hope to do activism with you all real soon. And thank you again.
No,
Yeah,
thank
definitely.
you. Have a wonderful night.
All right, thank you, brother.
See ya.